Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Julie with Bookshelf by Julie. Today we're finishing up our beginner basics series, and I hope this has been helpful to a lot of people, and maybe I've even surprised a few people. If you're a beginner, you've never made a journal before, you can take this series and absolutely be able to create your own journal with these little tips and hints and tricks and just the process of making one. Now, any journal that I've done the envelope one, I've done the chipboard, I've done bookboard, I've done file folder as your base. So you can pick and choose. Just my hope for this one was to be comprehensive enough to where anybody could make their own journal if they so wished, and you don't have to be intimidated or worried about, oh, I'm not good enough, because you don't have to be the best at anything. Having experiences, and especially these kind of experiences, they just help us all in our life. So this is what we're doing today. We're finishing this little matting job up. I'm going to show you how to do that like this, and we're going to put a front and back element in. Now you don't have to use these particular elements, but doing these will give you an idea on how to do many more. It's your imagination and innovation that takes it from this point past this beginner basics series into whatever you want it to be, using whatever papers you want to use, whether it's my digitals, which you can use, or if you want to use Stamperia or Graphic 45 or whatever other kind of commercial papers that are out there. There's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of people who create digital kits, journal kits. So it's so that you can have fun. So let me stop rambling and we'll get on with what we're doing. Okay, so to create, now, I've done this one all in neutrals. Well, that's not completely neutral, but I've done this one all in neutrals so that the paper isn't competing with what I'm trying to show, okay? So we will continue on with our, if you're matting, you only need to mat on one side. Print on one side. If you're doing something else where both sides are going to show, then you'll have to do double side printing. I double side printed these elements that we're going to make in a minute, both of them, so that I don't have white on one side. Okay, so these ones, for matting on this particular envelope, all I have to do is cut this paper in half, and it's the right size. And you may want to go with something like that that's really easy. If not, just hold your paper up there, see how much of a border you want, mark your place, and cut it where you want it to be cut, right? So we're going to cut this at 5.5, because generally that's halfway, as long as I keep my paper straight, right? So we've got half and half. So that'll mat 2 of the big pages in the journal. It'll mat this one, and it'll mat this one, and then we'll need one for there, but I've already got some cut out for there. I just wanted to show you how, I mean, it's that simple, but sometimes you don't work things out in your head until you get to a certain point of seeing somebody else do it, and you go, oh, that makes perfect sense. Well, this might have been one of those things. I don't know. So if you're going to ink it, ink it. If you're going to corner round it, corner round it. I didn't bring my corner rounder back. I brought everything else. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Corner rounder in tow. Okay, so the corner rounder, I recommended it. I mean, it's not expensive. It's just a cheapie. on Amazon. So you've got 3 different ones. I generally use this one here that says 10 mil most of the time. If I'm doing little bitty ones, I'll use that one. I hardly ever use that one at all. So, but yeah, that's what I do. You get your own, and I don't know, just experiment and see which ones you like. We all like different things. I will give you a hint and a tip here, in that sometimes your little bits here that gets chopped out will get stuck up in here, and if that happens, it will muff up your corner. So to just make sure that's cleared out each time, and your corners will chop out fine. It doesn't matter what brand you get, it just makes sure that that stays clear, and your corners will be rounded just like you want them to be, instead of being all weirded up. Okay, yep, just always make sure that's cleared and you're good. I know to some people who've been doing this a long time, this seems like, oh wow, you're being boring now. But to some new people, this might be a thing that they need to know, okay? So to ink, I don't do a lot of this on camera because this is just a personal preference. Some people like it, some people don't like it. And if you want to ink your edges, most paper has a white core, so even if you print it off, or even if you're using Stamperia or Graphic 45, you'll find that if you turn it to the side, you're going to see white. Even if you've printed on both sides, you'll still see white. So this kind of, to me, gives it that finishing outline. I don't do some heavy inking. Now there are a lot of crafters that do heavy inking. They use the darker inks and they like that. And so if you like that, experiment with with whatever you want. This one I use most is Vintage Photo. It's it can be mild or it can be really dark. It depends on how you apply, what you apply to it, okay? So let me move that out of the way. Next thing I'm going to show you is my little thing that I do. I use double stick tape, and I get it close to the edge but not all the way. Matting is also personal preference. You can use just glue, you can use tape runner, you can use whatever you want to use. It's what you like to use as your adhesive, your go-to thing. I use the double stick because that puts it down and it holds it pretty strong. And I also use the tacky glue, the Cosmic Shimmer or Art Glitter glue. You can use a lot of different glues. I'm not saying that's the only one to use at all, because there's some really good glues out there. The Gorilla Glue is good. The Tombow is good. There's a lot of little generic glues that are pretty good. I wouldn't recommend getting a whole bunch of expensive ones right when you're just starting out, because that can get pricey. Now, what a lot of people don't know, they say, oh, this lets go, this lets go. Well, it can. But if you take something, I just use a squeegee tool and just press it down really good on your, whatever you're putting it on. Press it really good, really hard, and that makes sure that tape that's on the other side of this backing is stuck to this mat really well, okay? It's not going to let go without ripping the heck out of that paper. This is lightweight cardstock, but you know what I mean. So that's going to hold. What I do now, excuse me, what I do now is I get this ready to go on here. I decide, okay, I want my border to be sort of even-ish around through there. If it's not perfect, especially the first few times you do it, it's okay, all right? And you can make your mat a little bit smaller. That makes this easier. That way you can do bigger borders around, and that's fine. And it's easier, okay? So do what's in your comfort zone. Mostly is what you want to go with, especially when you're doing this early in the morning or early in your crafting career, okay? Anyways, yeah. So I'm going to take some of this off. Now you can use your fingernail. You can use anything you can prise this up with is fine. Or if you don't use the double-side tape, then you don't have to do this part. I'm going to get my edges really well with my glue. I like the little needle nose tip because that can be exactly precise as my coordination will let me be. And I can get around all these edges really well. And the reason I'm leaving the rest of the backing on there is that I'm not going to put it all down at one time. I'm going to give myself some room here to decide where I want this at. See, the sticky part of this isn't even touching yet. And now that I've got my borders straight as, you know, we're not going for perfection, then I'll press that down, okay? So there you go. Now, you know, as you take these other backings off, as this lays down, you're going to have that straight, okay? That's my thing. That's what I do. And as you craft, you'll figure out what works for you, and you'll do that. That's okay. That's what we do. And if you've crafted in another area, there's a lot of things you can do that pertain to other crafts. If you used to quilt, I used to quilt. There's a lot in that you can use in paper crafting. If you used to do embroidery or hand stitching, or there's just so many crafts that we do, and you can incorporate all those things from all those other crafts and add them into the paper crafting. Okay. I use a brayer because I feel like I can get better pressure with a brayer than I can with just my hands. Okay? And these are not expensive. They're I don't know, $10 for 2 of them or something. It's pretty cheap. It's not bad at all. Let me get these in the trash. Okay, so now we've got that. We want to do the insides. Okay. Let me see if I can get these. I had some prepared. Okay. So just a little bit of matting goes a long way. And like I said, I'm using the neutrals because I didn't want any papers to interfere with what I'm showing you. We're doing the mechanics of making a journal. I started to say more fun. This is fun for me, but this is more of the, I don't know, it's the structure, it's the building, it's the work that you do before you get to the really fun parts of just decorating and putting in your pockets and your ephemera and all that pretty stuff that you put in these, right? This is the work before that. Once you get your journal base built, then you're just ready to start letting your imagination soar. Or that's the way I feel about it. Once again, just getting these edges all the way down. All the way down. So that I don't have anything peeking up later. I like that security. Every time I build something like this, I want it to be as best quality as I can produce with the materials that I'm using. So I use lightweight cardstock, craft paper envelopes, and yeah, it makes, now this is really sturdy. You've got lightweight cardstock on both sides, and that's the way it is through the journal. Now, we're going to put this one on, and then this one I'll show you. It gets a little bit tricky, a little bit, to do this side if you want to leave your options for making a pocket open. Now, I always like to leave myself options. I'm funny that way. Even if I don't open this up, I know I could if I wanted to, kind of thing, you know? So, I'll show you how to leave it open and still mat it and have it ready to decorate. Those are fun to have as big pockets that you can slide some really pretty something or other in, but you don't have to open them. They are, they're nice just to have as flaps, yeah. So we want to have this, and it's a little bit trickier doing this. You just want to make sure you're getting your borders as even as possible, right? So, yeah, just like that. And don't think you can't move this around. Move it however works for you. Yeah, this is turn around till you get what you're doing done, you know. This for me. Okay, now, yep, I'm glad that I did do this video series. I thought, well, there might not be too many people watching it, but I hope it has helped some people. And if you wanted to start into making journals, this is just a really great way to do it. With this series, you can follow step by step, doing all these things, and have a really awesome new craft adventure. Let me get all these things out of the way. They're sort of piling up on me. Okay, now we've got our front pieces done, except for this little flappy part. Now see, this can just absolutely just be a hinged in piece, and you can, you know, mat it flat down if you don't want to do this next part. But we're going to try excuse me, we're going to try doing this next part and not have it get too complicated, and we will close off the bottom part of this while leaving all this open, right? Because this envelope is a great way you can just take this edge here off, and then you've got a big deep pocket to put things in, if one so chooses, right? Okay, so let me see. I'm going to use this one that I've already got taped up, and I'm going to trim it off and use it this way, because the back is more or less the same thing, only itty bitty, right? It's there, it's just flat down matting it. Okay, that's easy. I say it's easy. I say it's easy because on video things can get a little bit hinky. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go back in here and use my corner rounder. Yes, corner rounders can be used over the double stick tape, but always make sure you go in there and get all these little things out, because that tape will kind of muck up in there and it'll want to stick to it. But as long as you clear it each time, you're good. Okay. All right. Again, I'm not going to put that down without inking it a little bit, you know, just a little. I'm not a heavy inker, but it's a thing. Finishing outline, right? Okay, there we go. So this is more or less the same, you know, like I said, just flat matting. I call it flat mat. It's just what it is. Okay, so again, we're just going to give ourselves this little bit around the edges really good. And put it on here. This gives us our, I don't know, we've got room. We've got this place, this part down here that's not got any adhesive showing or touching. So it gives us the move around to get this over here straight, and then we can take the other off and we know it's going to be just as straight as that is anyways, right? So here we go. Yeah, I do recommend making sure that all your edges are good. If you use the double stick tape or not, you need to make sure your edges are good. I like for my insides, these parts over here, to be all stuck down and not bubble up, because in time, if you don't get them stuck down really good, you might notice a bit of air bubbling in there, you know, if you don't use the double stick tape. Where if you just use glue and spread it around like this, it's not going to glue everything because it's not solid over everything, right? So you might have a few places that bubble up a little. So just so you know before you make your choices, right? Okay, so that is pretty. Excuse me. Now we're going to use this one that doesn't have any tape on it. I saved that to the side so that we can measure once again, like so, and like so. There's reason to this rhyme. We'll use some double stick tape, but where'd I put that mark? I am just really good at losing my mark when I mark something. I don't know if anybody else is good at that or not, but I'm really good at it. Okay. Okay, now corner around it. And we're going to do our corners. Like I said, you don't have to do them, but I like them that way. And also, it helps you get your mark. Helps you be straight when you're matting, or it does me. Okay, so get that out of the way. All right, now as you can tell, we've got some space here that we don't have to. And this 2-inch tape is really great to put there. Or you can just put it on one side of this. Okay. Let me move that out of the way. It's either or. You can put it on this, or since I've been putting it on this, let me show you. We'll put it on this. No, we won't, because I'm not going to put it on the whole. It's going to be, okay, we're going to put it on this. Sorry for the indecision, but we work things out, right? A lot of times crafting is that. It's finding a solution to a problem. Okay, where's my doohickey? Here it is. And even if it gets all muffed up, it's my word for it. Yes, and I'm sticking to it. You can always fix it. It's very fixable. Everything about this is fixable. it's not so fixable if you don't ink before that. It's really difficult. You can, if you forget and you think, oh no, I didn't, you know, you can still ink with one of those. You just have to be very careful. It's a thing. Okay, so we're going to take this off. And if you have any hangover from your double stick tape, some people say, oh, you can cut that off. You can. You don't have to. You can just fold it over. It works fine that way. It's double stick tape. It's sticky on both sides. So we're going to do this number here. Put this over here. Do all of our edges really well. And go over our double stick tape. Okay? Alright. Now, we're going to keep this part that's not got any adhesive on it down here towards the place where you don't want to close your pocket up, right? And move that up a little. Get it where you want it, as straight as you can, and then press that down. Just like the other one, right? I say it can get hinky because some people don't realize that they're gluing this down and then you've lost your pocket for sure. And that's awkward. If you wanted to keep it, it's awkward. Okay, so we're going to do the edges on here really well because we've got no double stick tape on this one. So we're going to do all these edges, making sure we're going right across here, and that'll close up the back side of the pocket, but not the front. Well, the front's already closed naturally. But we can open that up at any time, right? And we're going to go up through here on the envelope because we don't want to put glue on here because we'll get it into the wrong places. So we're going to do this number so we have sort of an outline of where we're going with this, right? And get your glue on as good as you can, not too much on those edges because it'll get right up in there and it'll close up the wrong thing. Okay. All right. You kind of have to get in there with your fingers and do some good pressing. You have to be careful not to get, envelopes can be fragile. These are a little bit less fragile because of the craft paper ones, but still, you don't want them to rip up there, right? Now you've got that matted on both sides, really pretty, and that's closed here. If you can see, that's closed off now because of the mat, okay? So if you wanted to open it for a pocket, you take this little edge off here, just the tiniest sliver, like we did when we opened this up, and then you've got a pocket to slide things in. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so now we've got that done. Like I said, we're going to finish up how to make a journal. You can make a journal by doing all kinds of things, right? Excuse me. This one is sort of a policy envelope piece, okay? And it's going to go like so. Like so. Yep. On here. I've got the measurements for this particular one, and I'll show you how to make it, and then we'll move on to the other one. You can use the measurements, or if you've got an envelope or a base that's bigger, just expand your measurements, okay? All right, let me get my stuff together. Okay. This one is not printed on both sides. Oh, this one is. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Okay, so as I said before, both sides I would print on so that you've got this and this, okay? Now I'm going to show you how to do the measuring and the cutting out, but I'm going to use these and I'm going to use these. I'll have all the measurements down below. This is an expandable wallet that I'm going to put in the back of this one. And this is the little policy envelope. Okay, so what I do is I'm not putting a back on these because this is the back. So that's pretty simple, right? Excuse me. So this is the same concept for the wallet and for the policy envelope, where you are going to make like a gusseted pocket, right? And if you don't know how to do gusseted pockets, I've got another series. It's called Let's Make It Fun and Easy, where I do a lot of that. I'll link that in the description below. Gusseted pockets are really easy, and they give you a lot of room inside because you've got, you've got that to work with. So when you're making these kind of things, you want to give yourself about 1/2 inch past your measurements, okay? You lay this down on here, and you say, okay, it needs to be this wide, but now you're going to need a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch. So you're going to expand that. Now this is for anything you're going to put into any journal. I'm just giving you this little tip. You measure it and then give yourself 1/2 inch on each side that you're going to make your gussets on, okay? Pretty simple. So if we're going to do this, which is 5 1/4, we need it to be 5 1/4 inches, okay? So our measurements for our width would be 6 1/4. That gives you 1/2 inch on each side, right? So for this, we have 5 3/4, and it's 6 1/4. Gives you that extra to make your gusset. Yeah, okay. So, for time's sake, we're getting really long on this one. I'm going to forego that. I've already got it cut out, and I have explained it. I think you can understand. If you have any more questions, let me know, okay? We're going to forego the cutting because we're getting really long on this video. But I didn't want to do 2 videos on this because we've got just a couple of little things to do this with, right? Okay. Again, I use the double stick tape, and I use it along these folded in gusseted areas. You score at 1/2 inch on each side and 1/2 inch at the bottom. If you don't have a scoreboard, just fold it about 1/2 inch and you're good. Yeah. Then if you're not using the double stick tape, which is fine, you can put a good bit of glue on here. But be careful not to get it too close to your edges because it'll squidge out into this part, and you'll have this glued down, and that defeats the purpose of putting a gusset in there, right? Again, if you're using the double stick tape, press it in there really, really good, okay? You want it to be pressed down so that it's stuck. All right. Okay. I am excited to do this one. I'm excited to be done with it as well, so that everybody can go through and you can make your own. I don't know why I took all those off. I always do the bottom first, so let's be careful and do the bottom first. I do. On every gusseted pocket I do the bottom first, because that way I can be straight, right? Okay. I'm going to be careful with this because I don't want it to stick to anything. I want mine to be seated down here. You don't have to put it down here. You can put it higher up or whatever you want to do with it. Now, make sure that's on there good. And I'll do this one, do the inside next, because that's the most fiddly. If you've already got the other side down, that gets complicated. Yep. Been there, done that. Yep. As I said, keep away from your edges, because that can be a problem. Okay, now we've got that right there. And we're going over here on this side. I'm trying to hurry so it doesn't get too long. I know it's getting long, I'm sorry. But there you go. Now we've got that one in. It's always good to give it a second, right? And then go in with something like a bone folder, just to make sure you didn't get your inside glued down, right? Okay. Now, on this one, if you notice, I have angled these edges, right? So, and I'm just going to put this to where it folds over like so. And we'll have our little policy envelope. Super simple and easy. If you do have any questions, though, just ask. I am going through this a little fast, but if you need to, you can always rewind me. Like I said before, I'm just as friendly the next time around. Just watch it back over. This one is the same, you know, width. You don't want to have your extra inch. You just, you know, have your width of that, because you're not folding that in for Gus. It's just a flap, right? And you can close these with Velcro. You can close them with the little brad system, whatever you want to do. It's just up to you. I put the, making sure I'm getting that straight. I put the, this big curve in. I used something like that just to, and drew around it and made my circle there so that it's got more room to get things in and out. It's easier that way. You can, like I said, you can do Velcro. You can, there's lots of ways to close that off. It's pretty simple. Okay. Okay. Going to the back. Once again, I'll have the measurements on in the description box if you want to do this particular size. They're all different sizes. Okay. I did, let's see. And you'll find me doing these things all the time. I just do because, well, they're a great way to, I don't know, come along. I can't find the end of my tape. Okay. They're a great way to store some extra goodies, you know, in your journal. You can put memorabilia, extra pictures, all kinds of things. I'm going to be doing a new series called Stash Builders real soon. And I'm going to do things like this and photo flips and things that you put in a journal a lot, you know. And then, okay, so I've got that one. This one is per the measurements. To make one of these inside pockets is really easy. This is 3.5 inches high. And for beginners, start at your fold and cut a little angle up. Turn it over and you've got your fold again. Cut it up. And then you're going to take 1 side, including the fold line, off. Make sure it's the same side. Yeah, just make sure it's the same side. Including your fold line, just trim it right off. But yeah, I'm going to be making some of these as a stash building situation, and photo flips and different things. They're always good to have. Sometimes you think, oh, I could put one of those here, and then you think, oh, I'd have to make one, you know. And then you go, So if you have them in your stash already, then you're good. So, yeah, there's that. Take those little angles off so that you don't have anything poking up. Put this together. Okay. These have a 1/4 inch gusset. You don't have to do a whole half on this one. It's fine with a 1/4, or I think so. Get out the way. Okay, yes, I'm trying to hurry. I am. Okay, now we've got that, so we're just going to put it together. I have pre-inked these mostly. So, yeah, but I will be making more of these in that series, and because I need some for my stash, so why not bring you guys along, right? Okay, got that. And that. And you just want it to fold up nice and neat. And nice and neat. Okay. Then you've got a gusseted pocket. Okay. One more time. I didn't trim off my edges, which I will do now. There. Okay. Here we go. If you're a beginner, I would recommend doing one of these at a time. Most of the time I do them one at a time, unless I'm trying to hurry a whole lot. Okay? Alright. Then you can get them even and make a nice go of it, right? Just, yeah. So, get this. Okay. Then you want to get it even. And press it down. It is paper. It'll do what you tell it to do, more or less. Okay. Now, this is the same concept as before. We're going to put this on this way, and then this is the lid. Now, for an expandable, I don't put sides on it. You can if you want to. I don't do that. I put a gusset down at the bottom, and there you go. So, let me go ahead and put the tape down here. You don't have to cut those ones off on this. Okay. Yep. We're just going to tape it up and stick it down there. Get this together. Okay. Now, your inside covers, sometimes you put something really nice there, and sometimes you just leave them with whatever paper you're doing, because there's some really pretty papers out there, just saying. And you just leave them with the pretty, you know, and that's okay. I just thought I'd give you some examples of some things that you can do for your inside covers. There's loads of things you can do. And in my stash building series, I'll probably cover quite a few of them because they're just handy to have them already made and get just pull them out and use whatever theme or color or whatever you're using to, you know, to do them. Okay, so let's get this done. We want to center this more or less on the page, right? So as much as possible. Perfection isn't a thing. You know, my stuff is I can do what I can do, and that's what I do. So maybe that's what a mantra is. I don't know. Anyways, that's what I do. Okay, and we're going to center it here, keeping it as straight as possible, and making sure we don't have any glue squidging out there. Okay. We're going to put the top on last. Now, let's put these together because they do need to be together with openings at the same place. Yeah, you don't want to put those upside down for sure. Okay, now I'm going to use this tape because it'll do a good job, and it's thin. Okay, these are 8-ish, well they're 7 3/4, so I'm going to put my tape here somewhere close-ish to the middle, right? Close-ish is good enough for this kind of thing. Okay, so I do want them to be lined up to where the tape is in the same place. Okay, so I'm going to do this like so, and then I'm going to do this after I look and see where it is. Okay. The thing is with this, now you can put a lot of pockets in these kind of things. Where did I put my, here it is. You can put a lot of pockets in these kind of things. You really can. 3, 4, ever how many you want to do. I'm only doing 2 for this because sometimes on your inside cover you do want it to be a little bit flat. Leave room for the person that's doing the that's going to receive the journal, so that they have, you know, some room to add some things in. Unless you're making it for yourself, then add your own things in. You know, just stack them up like you would some paper. Press that down, and there you go. It's, you know, don't want to give it too much pressure yet. Okay, then we're going to do this, and we're going to just stick this in here. I think I want to do, I'm going to put it this way, and then I'm going to lay it down and do it that way. Okay, now you can make these as standalone things, and I'll probably do some of those too because they're really, really handy to have. Smaller ones and bigger ones and whatever ones you want, you know. So we've got that. Okay, so now we're going to put this one on, and we'll have our front and back covers with a little, I don't know, a holdy element, if that makes sense. Something that can hold stuff and be decorative, because you can decorate the heck out of these. There's all kinds of embellishments, and you can add a pocket on the front of that, or a belly band, or whatever you want to do, you know. Okay, we want it to be about that far down, right? So I'm going to tuck this up in under. Yeah, that's it. I am. Okay, but I want it to be straight. So there. Okay. Yep, there. And then go in and press it down good. Okay. So there you go. A couple of holdy things. I generally use Velcro on something like this. You can use the policy thing if you want to go in and put the holes and put the thing around and put, you know, string and tie it around. That's fine. I haven't done a whole lot of that in this series because it's a little more fiddly and complicated, really, to do those things. Velcro's easy. I use Velcro a lot. Okay, so final video on beginner basics. We've done the signatures. We've done a lot of different signatures. We've got our flips and hinges. We've got our elements of that. We've got all these things going on. This is matted and ready to just decorate. Like I said, I didn't want to use any decorative paper on this. I wanted it to be just plain so that the focus was on how to put it together, not what to use to put, but how to put the basic building of a journal together, okay? If that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to quit rambling now because we've gotten really, really long. So, okay. Oh, the draw is still on. 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1,000. Make a comment. You get entered into the drawing, okay? I am trying to hurry. You guys take care. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. TTFN.